Once you're logged in, go ahead and type the title for your game, Game 2 Simple Breakout. And then I want you to select beginner samples, and then choose 2 breakout. Beginner samples, number 2, breakout. Okay, on the left panel, choose beginner samples, number 2, breakout. Click on that. Okay, and then I want you to copy and paste the blue text in the left panel. Control C, and then Control V to paste it.
Then click execute.
Yes, you can execute. And remember, these text boxes on the right can be resized at the lower right corner. Now, anybody remember from last time? Every game starts with what? Every game starts with? What are these 3 sentences called? Starts with an S.
Setting.
Setting. Very good. Thank you. So these 3 sentences are the setting. In fact, these 2 sentences are also the setting because you're just describing which characters are in your game. Which characters are in your game, and then initial variable settings. Okay, and then these 2 sentences are called player control. Player control, right? So in this game, we control which character do we control?
The brick.
The brick. And do we use the arrow keys to control?
No.
No. What do we use to control?
A and D.
A and D, because some people prefer to control with the left hand using WASD versus the arrow keys. Now, if you look at your keyboard, if you look at the patterns of WASD and the patterns of your arrow keys, they look very similar. So some people like to use the WASD or WASD to control. So in this game, we're going to use A and D with your left hand to control. So we have the setting, and then we have character control, and then the rest, what's this called? It starts with P.
Plot.
Plot. Very good. So we have setting, character control, and plot. Setting and plot, just like writing a story. Okay. Every story has a setting and a plot. So let's see here. The very first sentence in the plot is something new. We didn't do this last time. It says the ball starts by moving up. What this means is when the game starts, the ball will be moving up. Okay, and then the other 3 sentences describe the actions and interactions of the characters. So this sentence describes the interaction between the ball and the sapphire. Okay, so there are 2 characters described, the ball and the sapphire. So then there are 2 consequences. So here, remember last time when we have a conditional sentence, like this, it is describing cause and effect. So the cause is the ball hits a sapphire. That's a cause. The effect, there are 2 effects. The first effect is the sapphire explodes, and the second effect is the ball bounces. Now, cause and effect in computer science have different names. Okay, the cause is also called the antecedent. I mentioned this last week, antecedent. Okay, and the effect, anybody remember what's the effect called? Effect has another name. Anybody? starts with a C. It's a big word. Called a consequent. Consequent. So antecedent. Yeah. Antecedent, consequent. Okay. So this sentence has one antecedent and two consequents. Two consequents. So we have the antecedent describing the ball and the sapphire. So we'll have one consequent describing the sapphire and another consequent describing the ball. Is that clear? Okay.
Yes.
99% of the time, the consequents describe the results of the characters in the antecedent. Okay, 99% of the time. Okay, because it's object oriented. Object oriented. So if you say when the ball hits a sapphire, the sheep moves up. That doesn't sound right, does it? When the ball hits a sapphire, the sheep moves up because the sheep is not related to any character in the antecedent. So Lucas raised his hand. Lucas, you have a question?
Shouldn't we make it clear by typing in the game plan that the brick is controlled by us, like that we control the brick?
Yeah, you can have that, but there's artificial intelligence in here. So when it sees this sentence, I'll show you. When you execute, see the very first sentence here, it says, when A is pressed, the brick moves left.
When A is pressed, the brick moves left.
Right? Look at the note. The AI behind it says, it is assuming.
Note. Assuming the brick is the controlled character. If you did not intend for this, please add a sentence the player controls the object earlier in your game plan.
Yeah, so it by noting that you are using the letter A to control, it knows that the brick is being controlled. But that's a great question, Lucas. Okay. All right, so all right, so that's antecedent and consequent. And then this sentence describes the interaction between the ball and the brick. When the ball hits the brick, it bounces. Who bounces? Anyone? Who bounces? When the ball, because like I said last week, whenever we have two or more characters followed by the first pronoun, 95% of the time, the pronoun refers to the first character. And he also says that right here, right? When the ball hits the brick, it bounces. And he says, this little note here, he says the pronoun it is interpreted as ball, okay? And then finally, the last sentence describes the interaction between the ball and the border, okay? And the ball will also bounce. So let's give it a try. So most of you, if not all of you, have played a game like this before, right? Who has not played a game like this before? Most of you should have played something like this.
I've played a game that's similar to this before.
Right, so
It's like Pong.
right, it's like Pong with, something to break. So
It's basically Space Invaders.
well, next week we'll do Space Invaders where you can shoot.
Okay, yeah, you can't shoot, but I mean, like, I guess you could say the little like cubes. Those are like the aliens or
Yeah,
something.
you can think of it that way. Yes.
When the ball,
It's just the game Breakout.
Yes.
The game where you reflected a ball at bricks and tried to break all the bricks.
That's
Except when it touches the bottom screen, the ball just bounces off the bottom screen.
That's
So
right.
you can't lose.
Right now, there's no way to
Win,
lose,
win.
and there's no way to win.
Yes, that's
It
So
what
how
just
do you
keeps on
lose?
going.
Anybody? How do we lose? When?
Ball touches the bottom.
I heard when the ball touches.
You add when the ball touches the under you, the game will end.
If it goes behind you.
Well, behind you is sort of
Mm.
it's difficult to decipher.
When the ball touches the bottom border,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bottom border. Game over. Right. So that's re-execute. Now, the very first sentence in the setting describes there are 40 sapphires aligned 4 by 10 near the top. Okay, so this is also something new. We didn't do something like this last week. So here's a very quick way of arranging the characters without using the map. Okay. Now, every time we play this game, the brick will be placed at a different location. So how do we make the brick at the same location each time?
The map.
Yep. Very good. So what is the symbol for the brick? What is the symbol for the brick? Remember this Shohei map piece? Can somebody tell us what is the symbol?
K.
K,
Lowercase
very
k.
good. So I'm going to put it on the 19th row. So you can put 20 rows on the canvas and 20 columns. So I'm going to put 20 rows, 18 blank rows, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. And then the 19th row, I'm going to put K somewhere there. I'm going to re-execute. Now, every time I play this game, my brick will be right there, a fixed location. The ball will still be randomly placed somewhere in the middle. Okay. Any questions so far? So I'm gonna miss. Yep, that sentence we just added works. We can lose. Okay, so we just need to add one more sentence to say that we win. So how do we win?
when
Dr.
all
Chow?
the sapphires are destroyed,
Okay, when all the sapphires are destroyed, you
you
win.
win.
Okay, that will take a while. Just like last week we said, when all the carrots are gone, you win. We can also say that when all the sapphires are gone, you win. You can also say that, but I'm gonna change it a little bit because if you do that, you may not win in 5 minutes. You may take a long time to win. So I'm gonna change this. When all the sapphires are gone, you win. I'm gonna change that to when 25 sapphires are gone, you win. Okay, you can make that number smaller if you want.
Hey, Dr. Shao,
Yes,
we have a couple questions in the chat. Is that okay?
that's okay.
One is, can you please repeat what goes on in the map?
Okay. Yep. So the map lets you position the characters. So I just place a K on the 19th row. On the 19th row. So I have 18 dashes by itself. And then the 19th row, I have some dashes, and I place a K right there. This is the position of the brick. K is for the brick. And you can know the characters, the symbols for the characters by clicking on this show high map keys.
And then Michelle has a question. She'd like to unmute.
Okay, go ahead and ask.
Okay, so on the show/hide map key, so how many times do we need to do the dashes? Rows?
It's really up to you. I put 18 dashes, and then the last row, I put about 10 dashes in the case, so I have 10 blanks.
Okay, so 19. So 19 rows.
Yeah, I put my brick on the 19th row. You can put it on the 20th row
Okay.
or 18th row. It's really up to you. Okay, so I'll give you guys 2 minutes to play. I'm gonna change this 25 to 10. So I can win in about 1 minute.
I think Lucas also has a question. His
Okay,
hand is up.
Lucas?
I was wondering if we could keep it at when all the sapphires are gone.
Yes, you can keep that, yes. But don't play until you win right now. Do that tonight because we will move on pretty quickly.